Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University and Imperial, issue number 3. This is mostly an exposition comic book. All right. This issue is just all the info dumped on your lap. Now, there's some really good stuff here, and you should absolutely grab this comic book because I'm starting to see some pieces of where things are going, and things I expected are happening, and things that I didn't expect are happening also, as it tends to be with a Jonathan Hickman comic book. Let's get into all that good stuff. But first, did I mention that Jonathan Hickman is in fact the writer of this? Oh, maybe. But I did not mention that Iban Coelho and Federico Vincentini are the artists. Federico Blee doing the color art, and cover artists are Marco Cecchetto. I need to talk to that guy so I know how to say his name. And Marte Gracia. Anyway, a whole lot of variant covers out there. I don't know that we need that many variant covers for issue number 3 of Imperial, but it's a pretty darn good story, I gotta say. This issue, man, we start off with the Milano making its full escape. So, the Milano 2, mind you. So, what do you call it? Star-Lord is on here, and so is Nova, the original Nova, and does he kind of sort of just a little bit become Nova Prime in this for a moment? Maybe. And Shuri of Wakanda, the intergalactic empire of vibranium Wakanda thing and stuff like that. Sure. So one of my favorite superhero tropes that I think everybody kind of gets tired of, but we love the result of it. They say, okay, we're here, but we've got to make like 2 big jumps or hops to get to where we're going because, problems, all sorts of things have been shut down. We've got to get back to the Fulcrum space station, which, as you can imagine, is in the middle of everywhere. That's the definition of Fulcrum. It's the pivot point, right? So it's going to take them a while to get there. I like that Shuri doesn't know everything in this. That's beautiful. It's not that I hate Shuri. No, I love Shuri, but I love her more when she's not the invincible almighty goddess, smarter than, Tony Stark and everybody else, as much magic as Doctor Strange and as, tough as the Black Panther. No. No. She's a whole bunch of really cool things. She doesn't have to be everything and the best at all of them too, because then what's the point of the other characters? Anyway, she says one of the most iconic lines in Marvel ever. We don't have time for this, which always leads to a fight between 2 heroes usually, right? I don't have time for this. We don't have time for this. Now, this doesn't lead to a fight. Actually, this is the result of a fight, which is interesting because you know what rhymes with fight? Right. As in, I was right. That's right. Professor Bill was, in fact, as usual, right. A little cocky, all right? I'm a little cocky on this one, but I said it could potentially be Malekith, right? Which I'd be, not Malekith, Maelstrom. It could potentially be Maelstrom from the old Quasar comic books, Mark Guggenheim. God rest your eternal soul. But man, my first pick was Grandmaster. And sure enough, it's Grandmaster, right? Changes bracelets a little. But I still caught him. So Grandmaster is here. What I didn't expect was Maximus of the Eternals. Mostly because, why? Like, who cares? Maximus of the Eternals. Well, we get this big, long info dump about how this and why that and how we're going to do all these things. And the idea is that everything is backwards. Backwards not meaning there's a time bump or anything, but Grandmaster and Maximus, they have this little plan. Hey, I'll do this if you do that. All right, I'll give you this if you win this contest, and you give me this if I win the contest, right? Basically, Maximus needs the universe in a little bit of chaos. He doesn't need for all of the empires to break their alliances with each other and, go off their own separate ways. He just needs them at each other's throats. Now, the Grandmaster has his own designs, but Also, if he's going to remain not an eternal, what do they call the Guardians of the Universe, Guardians of the Galaxy, Elder of the Universe. If he's going to remain an Elder of the Universe, all these intergalactic names are super like similar. If he's going to remain an Elder of the Universe, he has to do the thing that he loves the most, his hobby. And for the Grandmaster, as you can guess, that's gaming. He has to game. If he wants, I game every Friday night with a bunch of guys, and you can see our exploits as they come out. We're doing a Vampire the Masquerade game right now. Fridays, 8 o'clock, Toronto, New York City time. So it's Eastern Standard Time. Anyway, what was that? 5 hours minus Greenwich Mean Time. World clock. So why he needs all this stuff in Chaos is actually pretty interesting. Because he's the brother of Black Bolt. And you figure at any moment Black Bolt's going to show up and try and stop him. But he doesn't. There's a mention in there. Guys, we're getting into spoiler territory now. All right? I loved this comic book. There's so much good stuff. I'm going to give you a spoiler at the very end of this, and I'll tell you when. But the stuff that's going on with, like, sure, we don't see what's going on with the Hulk yet, but the week after next, or next week, I think it's next week, we're supposed to get the Imperial War She-Hulk. So we're going to see what she's doing on Sakaar. I hope there's a lot of good stuff there. I hope it's not just getting nookie with people, because I'm tired of that She-Hulk. But I do want to see her having to actually fight, because she's really strong, but she doesn't really fight that often. Really good at other stuff, twerking, I would imagine. But yeah, I want to see her actually fight. That's what the comic books are for. So yeah, that's a really good opportunity to see her being totally, badass. So Badassatron, Transformers 1, such a great movie. Such a shame they're not going to do part 2 of that. How disrespectful. They do part 2 of the Bayverse, but not that. Anyway, Nova has to go and he has to put on this helmet. I love this huge mistake that was made. Jason of Spartax, I know, Jason. Jason of Spartax is dead, right? So that and the sister, his daughter, is lost, probably never coming back. So Star-Lord is now the intended heir of the Spartax dynasty. When Nova, Richie Rider, comes up and says, hey, listen, this thing is here. I'm one of the last people who can actually wear it. It's going to give all the history and art and culture and everything of Xandar, but it's also the everything that we have, the world mind, basically. Well, not the world mind, but whatever. It's all that good stuff here. It's going to tell us who's behind everything. It says, but once I turn it on, it's going to want to turn off not too long afterwards, right? I don't know how long we've got, but we've got a little bit of time. I'm going to need somebody to fund this thing staying on. He right away looks at Shuri because, yeah, Wakanda's got the most money. And she says, I can't promise anything for my brother. So Star-Lord says, yeah, I'll do it. I've always got your back, bud. What a shame. It's one of those little mistakes. I think T'Challa is going to be infuriated, or at least he should be, at Shuri. Because the idea of, oh yeah, I will make this bond right now with you, that I will forever fund your thing. But that means that it's got to be at my disposal also. For the newest empire out there, the Intergalactic Council, whatever, of Wakanda, could actually be a superpower beyond economic and military strength, right? And as much as we might like to think it's, all military strength, it's mostly spy strength, right? But it is a powerful military nonetheless, mostly because of the incredible tactics that T'Challa and his people will employ. Man, to have access to all the secrets and past of the universe, who controls the past, or who controls the present controls the past. He could have controlled the past. In the present, he could have controlled the past. Because who controls the past controls the future. 1984, right? George Orwell. This could have been so epic for T'Challa, but Shuri fumbles this ball hard because she couldn't understand that. Of course, T'Challa would say yes. I will speak for my brother in this case. That's what she should have said. This is no different than, hey, if some, marshmallow-laden chick asks if you're a god, you say yes. Ghostbusters. Anyway, although this was an info dump, this was wild. Oh, here comes the spoiler. Go away if you don't want the spoiler for this. Time's up. Looks like Black Bolt is actually in league with his brother, Maximus the Mad, because they want to reestablish an Inhuman empire. Good thing I was cushioned by my beard. I can't wait to see what happens next. Like the video, watch an ad. Professor Bell, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.